Today, if you're a dog person or a cat person, this pod is for you.
We are diving into pet tech, and it is a big category.
From door-to-door vets to airtags for dogs, we've got it all.
This is Future Forward, the future of our digital dogs and cats too.
I'm Alexa Scordato.
And I am Stephen Rosenbaum. Let us launch. Hey, Alexa.
Hey, Steve.
I'm not going to lie. Just the word digital dogs made me smile. I was like, yay, digital dogs. We're going to have digital dogs.
I smiled when you shot me the note about this week because we could all use cute, furry, happy things in our lives.
So I'll start with a personal dog story.
You should disclose to you're a dog person.
Well, that was where I was going to get there. I was going to get to my disclosure. So many, many years ago, we got hired by then Animal Planet to do a television series about New York City dog owners and their pets. It was essentially a dating show. It was like a before reality TV, kind of cute New Yorkers and their goofy pets and how they ended up meeting and having relationships of some sort or another. And over the course of making it, I just found myself thinking, these people are just fucking crazy. I mean, it wasn't that we booked crazy people, although we did book slightly kooky, unusual people. But the series, like, people were like, there was a dog wedding. I mean, like, this was not a made up thing. These people were dog people. Flash forward, some number of years later, and if I look in the mirror and I'm honest, I've become one of them.
Okay. In what ways?
We know all the names of all the dogs in the dog park. We don't know the names of the people.
Okay. Have you made friends from the dog park?
Well, Pam more than I, but yes, the simple answer. Anyway, so this story, this pod today, turns out to be about, among other things, numbers, like really extraordinarily big numbers. And I thought maybe we'd start there, and then we could kind of move along into, what the numbers mean. We're talking about billions of dollars. But all right, hold on.
I feel like this show is the equivalent of when we did the baby tech episode. Like, I didn't really know about that category until it was relevant to me, but this pet category is huge. I don't have pets.
So here's what's funny. As I was researching it, I was thinking about the baby tech show and how, don't take this the wrong way, but how similar it is. Like,
oh, for sure. I mean, people say, I just have a fur baby. I'm not having babies.
I will only say this for those of you considering the choice between human babies and fur babies. No college for fur babies. There is that. Significant, but you might over time be able to spend almost as much money. All right. So, I did not go to CES this year. And to be honest, I'm not sure anyone, I guess some people did. But despite that, CES did exist in a virtual world. And I thought maybe the best thing to do is just dive in and look at some product. And then we'll talk about the bigger trend of investment into the pet category, where it's going, what kinds of VCs are spending money. So this is kind of a two-sided pod, because part of it's you as a consumer buying more stuff, and then the other is investors, many of whom listen to the pod, thinking about whether or not pets is a category. So this is an article from a website called The Future of Things, and the headline is, "Puppy Tech is changing the journey of our pet and getting the right stuff to improve their lives." And I'll just kind of go through the headlines before we get to the gadgets themselves. Longer lives of pets due to progressive veterinary medicine. It's interesting. I know someone that spent her entire life up through college planning to be a vet, and then found out almost as she was beginning veterinary school that she was allergic to pets.
No, that's
sad.
Insanely ironic. Yeah.
It's very sad. So what wearable gadgets? We're going to talk about a bunch of wearables, pet wearables. I think this depends to some extent on whether or not you're a country person or a city person. Cats, there are some cat collars we're going to look at, but honestly, I mean, I guess if you live in the country, you let your cat go outside.
Yep.
And then there's the whole bird issue, but we'll set that off for another pod.
Okay.
And then, as we're going to look at, there are a whole series of automated buttons and bells to make communication with pets simpler. You know, it's a worthwhile debate whether or not that actually works. I mean, does your dog pushing the button that says food, is that communicating, or is that just your dog is hungry and would like some food?
I don't know. I've seen some pretty compelling videos that show dogs using those buttons, but I don't know.
There was one with a monkey in which a monkey had learned 250 words and was able to communicate pretty effectively through a series of word buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Have not seen that with dogs. All right, so let's just dive into some gadgets first. So this is TechCrunch, which I have to tell you, of all the things I read, TechCrunch is incredibly hard to cut and paste the link to an article and get it into your script. It's so mobile centric that it just doesn't behave well on desktop.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So I read a lot of things, but TechCrunch is clearly the hardest to share. So the fact that I'm sharing it today means I thought this was meaningful. So this is new pet tech at CES. So let's just look at a couple of them. The first one is Invoxia. Not a word that rolls right off your tongue, maybe a branding challenge there. But I'll just read what it says. Invoxia takes things a little further with a smart collar that tracks your dog's location, but also heart and respiratory condition. Now, I can't vouch for the efficacy of this, but given the advances we've made in smart watches or other devices that can detect adverse events, it doesn't seem implausible.
Do you think this is solving a problem that you've encountered?
It's kind of a hard story. Yes, sadly, yes.
No.
I just wonder if you're in a veterinary office, does that mean your phone rings and somebody says, "I'm getting a bad reading on my Invoxia collar"? And
Yeah,
you're
I don't
supposed
know.
to, as the
My experience with this is with like researching the baby things and like a wearable sock or something that tells you, your baby's not sleeping well or breathing well. And all my research points to it gives you false positives and makes you more paranoid than you should be.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. All right, so let's go to this next one. This is Inupathy, a dog-worn backpack that the company claims can detect a variety of psychological conditions.
I mean, I read this and I was like, oh, can I wear it?
The answer is yes. Yes, you can. You're feeling a little stressed today.
Right.
Actually, it's the battery on your Invoxia backpack is running low. You best charge it. You're feeling a little stressed today. Yes, because of you.
Right.
Here's another one. iPetWare are data-driven early warning signs for doggy. It's a lot of heart attack prevention.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these things, as you might expect, are subscriptions.
Right.
So you buy the device and then you pay monthly for the rest of your dog's life. That's very sad. So let's jump over to this New York Post article, because the New York Post, whatever you feel about the paper, does a good job of telling stories in a fun, graphical way. So this is best pet tech devices: litter robot, Eufy RoboVac, Furbo, and more. So I have to say, I'm as geeky as anyone you know. I have never, ever, ever tried a robo vacuum.
Really?
Ever.
See, because you've indicated in the past, like the robot dogs, you're super into. You could start with like a Roomba, just like a really simple, practical sweeper.
Okay, so listeners, just realize that Alexa just traveled from a pet to an appliance as if I need some kind of a robo friend, but the vacuum will be my starter robo friend. I
Some
don't
people
think it's the
find
same.
their Roombas endearing.
I did try a robot window cleaner many years ago.
Okay.
I put it on the outside of the building. It had magnets that held it to the glass, and it crawled up and down and washed the windows. I think I may have told you the story once before, but Pam absolutely hated it. Even with the safety chain on, she was convinced it was going to fall to the street and hit somebody in the head. So the robot window cleaner was returned to its mothership and sent packing, as it were. So from the Post article, anything in particular we should pull out? Anything you liked?
Let's see. I don't know. I mean, we can just go through like broadly the different options. I mean, I think okay. I will say in broad strokes, it does feel practical to say here's something that feeds your robot or something that makes the litter situation more manageable, right? That's what the first two uh, devices are: the litter robot 3 Connect and then the feeder robot. I was curious, like, do you think this is expensive? Because the litter connect is $549 and the feeder robot is $249. And like, again, totally different category, but like kitchen appliances, for example, I can't think of a kitchen appliance I've spent $600 on. And like, if you take the lower price point of this, of the feeder robot, $249, I don't know, like maybe I don't know. I feel like it's such a big investment.
So the litter box I found particularly troubling because, among other things, it meant that you were going to have an app on your phone that was going to say, beep, 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 cat just peed in the litter box. Really? Like, I've had cats and I've had litter boxes. And other than them being a little bit odorific, this was a long time ago, I just don't think I need the alerts. I don't know what I would need alerts for.
So do you think I admittedly did not dig deep into this one particular product, but could it solve for things like if you're going away?
I mean, for $500, I think it could solve for all kinds of things. I think the cats must find this very amusing. Like, you bought me a $500 litter box. What a schmuck you are. It's kind of a cool look. It's kind of cool looking. I got to say, it looks kind of like a spaceship. All right. The feeder robot, again, for going away, that does make sense.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I mean, the amount of money my friends spend on like dog hotels and stuff and dog sitters makes sense.
Yeah. I don't buy the vacuum. I'm passing on the vacuum. Let's talk about Furbo. So I confess I have been on the verge of buying one of these. If you're in the office, this was back before hybrid. Hybrid has probably killed this company. If you were at work and you wanted to check in with your dog and you went on your phone and the dog came up to the Furbo thing and said, hi, and you pitched it a treat, that would seem to be a good, like, human pet interaction with a iPhone / remote dog feeder unit in between. It is also on sale for those of you thinking about a pet gift. It was $199. It's now down to $118. I like this idea. I'm being slightly sarcastic, but not entirely. There's a bunch of different feeders here. And then there's the pet safe electronic smart door. Again, country person, city person. I think if you're in the country and you've got raccoons, for example, in your backyard, you probably don't want a pet door that is not somehow sensitized to letting your dog in, but not the raccoons.
Right.
I'm totally making that up, but I like that as an idea.
Yeah, I can see it.
Here's an automatic ball launcher. Again, 169. I have seen this last one, the Wicked Smart Bone. I'm not going to lie, it's a fun toy. And then there's a laser. I mean, it's all this. This article goes on and on. So this is the New York Post. We'll put the link in the show notes. And the Post also has buy now buttons, which make me think that they're probably got some kind of a kickback coming from Amazon or somebody if they sell digital dog devices. All right. So suffice it to say, lots of new gizmos, not a surprise. But I think, and then the one or two others, wags tags, like airtags for keeping your dog off the couch.
I like this.
The only thing I will say, having read about this, is they're a little bit unclear about what they do. Like they say it's not a shock collar because that's horrible. Like the idea you put around your dog's neck, a thing that zaps them. But I'm not sure what the behavior modification.
A low sound that's irritating to dogs. So it's so interesting. I have this USB lighter, and my mother-in-law's dog freaks out when they hear it. I don't even really hear it myself when I turned it on, but when I go to light a candle or something, this dog freaks out. So I can imagine that it's like an irritable thing. And so it's like it reinforces that if you do that on the couch, then you're going to hear this like piercing noise.
So you wouldn't really need a wags tags device. You could just take your lighter and flick it whenever the dog was chewing up.
Totally.
I will say, for those of you who are watching the video as opposed to the audio pod, this picture of the dog with the couch torn up, I've never really had a dog or a cat that destroyed furniture, but I have friends whose lives have been ruined by dogs that wanted to eat furniture. So, so there's I don't know if we have to go through all the smart collars because
so many.
And
it's like back in the day. It reminds me of like Fitbit, the Nike Band, we were in the era of dog wearable tech.
I have two what I would describe as dumb collars. They have no electronics. You don't have to charge them. We did last winter briefly have an LED light up collar for the dogs that we got on Amazon for like $4.95 that people in the neighborhood found quite charming at night. The dogs would have little LED accoutrement. You should probably get that again. All right. So I want to get to the, and maybe the last thing we'll just look at is this cat collar, in part only because I found this research lab and the Chinese letters around the cat. This is Invixia again, but this is a research lab. This is a very high-end cat research lab. And this is a Chinese cat, which is different than a English-speaking cat. I'm kidding. Okay.
Honestly, it would not even surprise me though if the language that you speak to a pet actually does show up with some differences, like different neural pathways or something.
So let's talk about this veterinary clinic. This is the vets.com. And they raised $40 million. They come to your house with a van. They care for your pet. I don't know if it's in the house or in the van. I detected something interesting here beyond the actual service, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But like this fits into a larger phenomenon, right? Of companies taking over what used to be private practices and providing all the back end so that I was actually thinking of Tend, the dental practice.
Yep.
which seem to be the same thing. Like, and if you read the fine print, they talk to vets joining the vets in terms of improving their quality of life.
Yeah.
So you build this practice and then you plug in human veterinarians, but they don't get calls on the weekend. They don't get panicked people. They basically work 9 to 5 and then somebody else covers. Like you don't have a one-on-one relationship with your vet anymore. You have a one-on-one relationship with the vets.
Right. Care in the front, business in the back.
I don't know what that means. It seems vaguely
just like you as a user, you think you're getting the experience of like the doctor or the practitioner, but in the back, like the business is all abstracted out.
I'm going to say I understand that, but this is how you and I are different, because you actually, what I reacted to was, first of all, does this work in New York? They say they're in 8 cities now and they're going to be in 25 by the end of the year. But building out this business is no joke, right? Because you need this practice, and then you need the service, and then you need the marketing end, and then you need vets.
Mm-hmm.
You need actual trained, certified, credentialed veterinarians who want to drive around in a van.
Yeah. I mean, marketplaces are tough to scale, but I think telehealth, that's not going to go away. And so applying that same trend to pet care feels right, on trend.
So you think that I didn't read this, but it's probably right that the first starts with a visit where, it's so interesting. You do a telehealth visit with your dog. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like you don't need to drive or get on the subway to do like a 10-minute consultation. Like if that can be done remotely, why not?
Well, and depending on the size of your dog, getting your dog on the subway is a problem.
Right.
And getting your dog into a taxi is always a complicated, or a Uber, although I haven't ever tried with Uber. Maybe they're more forgiving. Cabs generally just say no. If the dog can't fit in your lap, like a little mini dog, they just are like, no.
Yeah.
For all kinds of reasons, which is that often dogs throw up in the back of the cab. They're not used to, if you're a city dog, being in a rolling metal box on a bumpy street can be unsettling to your sensitive stomach.
I can see that. Yeah.
So let's get to the math. We've got a few minutes left. So the numbers are staggering. So this is a European journal. This is sifted.eu. And they say pet startups have raised serious funding in 2021, surpassing the record-breaking year of 2019 by August at $1 billion, which was plowed into companies including the insurer Bought by Many, never heard of them, the wearables company Tractive, never heard of them, from heavyweights including SoftBank and Sequoia. I would think if you were a big VC, being in the pet category would be a no-brainer. The question would be, how do you pick a winning company?
Right. I mean, the entire VC game is, 1 in 20 is going to actually win.
I would think you would need a great team, a great product, and a great marketing plan. And all 3 of them would have to work. The fact that the 2 biggest ones, according to this article, I'd never heard of. I mean, I'm easily identifiable as a pet owner.
Yeah.
I don't stop cookies, and I'm all over the place, and I buy a bunch of stuff on Amazon, and we buy a bunch of stuff on various other pet sites, which deliver boxes of who knows what to our door. We don't do the monthly gift box.
Yeah.
I consider that a bridge too far.
Well, in the last year, Woof, the stock Woof, which is Petco, they went public. And I was reading their prospectus when they IPO'd. And it's interesting because I don't have pets, but I was walked by Petco's in the city. And I mean, it has a $4.8 billion market cap right now. And it is like positioning itself as a health and wellness company for obviously dogs and pets.
I was at Petco 3 weekends ago, and there were at least there was a there were at least 3 different pop-ups active in the store. There was somebody was doing training, and someone was selling a specialty dog food, and someone else was doing like trims and nails, and I mean it was happening.
Yeah, I mean I think that's like if I were a VC, I would actually look at Petco's performance, and I actually see it as almost a leading indicator because it looks like they're going broad, like they're trying to potentially consolidate the market. So if you have like a startup that's doing really well in a niche, it would lend itself to either being a direct competitor or a potential acquisition target.
So this is interesting between, say, Petco and like GameStop. GameStop makes no sense to me because I never need to walk into the GameStop. There was one on my corner. It's gone. I can buy everything for my gaming needs online. Petco, on the other hand, I want, and I'm not going to lie, my dogs like going to Petco. I mean, they do this evil.
Okay, they're like sample treats and stuff like you get at Costco, like you.
There are sample treats, but they also put at the dog snout level all these good smelling things that the dogs walk up to and tell you, I'd like this to come home with me, please. I mean, it's the same thing you do in the supermarket where you put at eye level the thing that is the store brand so that people see. But dogs lobby hard when they find a bone or a treat they want. So I think you're going to see more investment capital in the category. And I think that's going to mean once you get more investment capital, it's going to mean more innovation. The European pet insurance market attracts record funding in 2021, which I thought was interesting. Here, let's just go to the very, very bottom. There was a list of 40% of injuries are based on preventable stomach injuries, which I guess makes sense. But there was a list of trends that I wanted to.
It's just so interesting, right? Because that's like preventative care, telehealth, like anything that humans are into right now. We're saying we could apply to dogs and cats.
So, I at the risk of being a bit of a buzzkill, I want to ask the sociological question. What does this mean about us? You've got families going hungry. You've got families that don't have health care. You've got real human level issues. And yet it does seem like as a society, we'd rather kind of spend money
take care of our
dogs.
Pets more than people.
Our neighbors. Yeah. Pets more than people.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know. I've laid in the past, I've been really judgmental. Like I've seen, people who are homeless with like multiple dogs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you're really going to beg for money so that you can feed 3 pets and you can't even feed yourself. Like, but I don't know. There's like people I know who love their pets. There are like mental health benefits to it. They're, maybe they couldn't have kids. Like there are so many reasons why people have pets.
Not since COVID, but there used to be a guy that would set up outside in front of Zabar's on the Upper West Side, and he had a whole table. He had birds and guinea pigs and rabbits and a little dog and cats. He had like a menagerie. He wasn't homeless. He was a kind of a street circus performer of some sort or another, but people very much liked giving him money.
Yeah. I remember that guy.
The hard thing is if you're walking 2 dogs on a leash, think of that from a dog's perspective. Like even if they don't mind cats, they certainly would like to bark at a rabbit. Like like I don't know how I always thought I would go up to him and give him some money, and then I'm like, my dogs would eat one of his animals. Like there would be feathers everywhere. It would be terrible. All right. I think
yeah. For me, it's a control thing. People want to do what they can directly impact, and so it's a lot easier to think I can take care of this pet versus, huge populations of the United States.
I think that's right. And then the other thing is, if during COVID, if you're trapped in your apartment and you don't see your neighbors and you don't get to go to the coffee shop and say hello to your friends, a cat or a dog can be a really valuable, maybe essential companion in these challenging times. So no guilt. You want to go out and get special dog food, special cat food, one of these weird, if you buy one of the things that we've talked about on this pod, for example, the litter box, if you splurge and spend the $500 on the digital litter box, we would love to hear from you. Please send us pictures, send us video. With that, we are out of time. We will be back again next week with another edition of Future Forward. Till then, see ya.
See you next week.